Have you ever felt this way? You wake up in the morning and your knees feel stiff before your feet even touch the floor. Or maybe climbing the stairs has become something you avoid because every step sends a little shock through your hips. You tell yourself it's just getting older, but a part of you wonders why it keeps getting worse. A patient of mine once shared something that stayed with me. She said, "Dr. Carter, I don't understand it. I'm not doing anything extreme, yet my joints hurt more every year." She believed it was simply age catching up with her, but the real story was far more surprising. Something silent and steady had been affecting her joints long before she noticed the pain. Now I want you to imagine this. Inside your body, there is a hidden force that presses on your knees, your hips, your lower back, and even the small joints in your feet. You can't see it, and you don't always feel it directly, but it works around the clock. That force is excess weight. And what shocks so many seniors is that obesity doesn't just push down on the joints like extra weight in a backpack. It also creates inflammation from within, weakening cartilage, straining muscles, and sending tiny chemical signals that make pain louder and recovery slower. Many older adults come to me confused, unsure why their joints seem to be aging faster than the rest of their bodies. They don't realize that fat cells behave like a mini inflammation factory that never turns off. When these signals build up day after day, the joints begin to ache, swell, and wear down much faster than they should. In today's video, I'm going to help you finally understand this connection in a clear and empowering way. In Part 2, we'll explore the mechanisms behind weight-related joint pain, the early warning signs you should never ignore, and the safe, practical steps you can take to protect your joints starting tonight. You absolutely can improve your comfort, even if you've lived with joint pain for years. If this message already speaks to you, make sure you subscribe and stay with our Senior Health Daily community. Your journey towards stronger, healthier joints truly begins right here. The scientific link between obesity and joint pain. When we begin talking about the relationship between weight and joint pain, many seniors are surprised because they've lived most of their lives believing the same simple explanation. They thought their pain came from aging, from genetics, or from years of daily wear and tear. And while those things certainly matter, they are not the full story. The truth is, one of the most powerful forces affecting your joints isn't the passing of time. It's the extra weight your body quietly carries every single day. I often invite my patients to imagine something familiar from their past. Picture yourself wearing a heavy backpack, not for a hike or a long walk, but from the moment you wake up until you go to bed. At first, you might barely notice it, but as the hours go by, the weight digs deeper into your shoulders, your hips respond differently, your knees begin to complain, and your lower back stiffens with every step. That is what excess body weight does to your joints. Except the backpack never comes off. It follows you, step by step, year after year. Scientifically, the impact is more dramatic than most people imagine. Every single pound of extra weight puts roughly 4 pounds of additional pressure on your knees. So if someone carries 10 extra pounds, their knees bear 40 extra pounds with every step. Multiply that by thousands of steps a day, and you begin to understand why the knee joint, more than any other joint in the body, becomes worn, inflamed, and painfully sensitive. Many seniors are shocked when they finally realize that even a small amount of weight loss can create significant relief, because it removes a tremendous amount of mechanical stress that they never saw, but their joints definitely felt. But the story does not end with mechanical pressure. The deeper truth lies inside the fat cells themselves. Most people think fat is nothing more than stored energy, waiting quietly in the body. In reality, fat cells are active and busy, releasing chemicals that affect everything around them. Excess fat produces inflammatory substances called cytokines, which behave like tiny messengers of irritation. These signals travel through the bloodstream and land inside your joints, increasing inflammation, breaking down cartilage, and making the joint far more sensitive to pain. Even on days when you do not move much or do not overuse your joints, this invisible inflammation continues working behind the scene. I have lost count of how many patients have looked at me with confusion and said that they weren't doing anything particularly strenuous, so they couldn't understand why their joints hurt so much. They didn't realize that their own fat cells were generating inflammation 24 hours a day. It is like having a campfire burning inside the body that never fully goes out. Over time, the heat from that fire weakens cartilage, stiffens the joint, and makes minor pain feel more intense. When the cartilage begins to thin, the bones no longer glide smoothly against each other. Instead, they rub, grind, and irritate every surrounding structure. Imagine sand being poured into the gears of a machine. It still works, but with resistance, friction, and strain. Older adults already have thinner cartilage due to natural aging, so when obesity is added to the picture, the wear and tear accelerate at a pace the joint simply cannot keep up with. Another consequence that many seniors do not realize is the weakening of muscle tissue. Fat often infiltrates the muscles around the hips and thighs, reducing their strength. When the muscles cannot support the body's movements properly, the joints must take on even more force. Weak muscles mean tired joints, and tired joints lead to pain. This is one reason people who are overweight often feel discomfort not just during activity, but also afterward, when the muscles fail to protect the joints the way they should. And finally, the risk of arthritis and joint degeneration rises sharply with obesity. Research consistently shows that seniors carrying extra weight have a 40 to 60% higher likelihood of experiencing osteoarthritis in the knees and hips. It is not just because of pressure. It is because of the combination of pressure and inflammation, of force and chemical irritation, of cartilage breakdown and weakened muscles working together in a cycle that grows more destructive over time. Understanding the scientific connection is the beginning of empowerment. When you see the full picture, you realize your body hasn't betrayed you. It has simply been asking for help in ways you didn't yet understand. And the moment you begin to address the weight factor, even gently and gradually, your joints finally get the relief they have been begging for. In the next section, we will take this understanding even further by exploring how excess weight affects each specific region of your body and why certain joints hurt more than others. Effects of obesity on each joint area. As we move deeper into this conversation, I want you to picture something simple yet profound. Imagine your joints as small, hardworking employees inside your body. Each one has a role. Each one supports you, balances you, and carries you through every step of your life. But when the body holds more weight than these joints are designed to manage, their workload increases far beyond what they were built to handle. And just like any worker who has too much on their plate for too long, these joints eventually begin to protest. Let's start with the knees, because they are often the first joints to send out distress signals. The knees are remarkable structures, built to bend, carry, stabilize, and adjust your movement in every direction. But they were never designed to support the tremendous force that excess body weight places on them. I've had countless seniors tell me their knees feel swollen or heavy after even short walks. What they don't realize is that every extra pound on their body sends 4 pounds of force straight into these delicate joints. Over time, that force grinds down the protective cartilage, inflames the lining of the joint, and creates the deep ache so many people feel when they rise from a chair or climb a set of stairs. The knees simply cannot escape the pressure, and the pain becomes their language. The hips carry a significant burden as well. They are the silent anchors of the body, stabilizing you with every step and every shift of weight. When someone carries excess weight, the hip joint loses some of its natural fluid motion and instead begins to grind and tighten. Many seniors describe this sensation as a deep, stubborn ache that radiates through the outer thigh or into the groin. Others say they hear or feel clicking when they walk. For some, the pain spreads downward, making the simple act of lifting a leg into a car or stepping over a curb surprisingly difficult. These are not random signs. They are the hip joints quietly asking for relief. Now let's talk about the lower back, an area that often suffers silently until the pain becomes impossible to ignore. Excess weight, especially around the midsection, pulls the lower spine forward. This shift creates strain on the small joints of the spine, the discs that cushion them, and the muscles that support them. I once had a patient who believed she had a nerve disorder because sharp pain shot down her leg every night. But the true cause was the increased curve in her spine caused by abdominal weight. Once she began losing even modest amounts of weight, the pressure on her spine eased, and the shooting pain slowly faded. This is a powerful reminder that the body is incredibly responsive when given the chance. Moving downward, we come to the ankles and feet, which bear the weight of your entire body with every step. People often forget how much these small structures do for them until they struggle just getting out of bed in the morning. Excess weight flattens the arches of the feet and overworks the plantar fascia, a band of tissue that stretches along the bottom of the foot. This condition, known as plantar fasciitis, can produce sharp, stabbing pain with the first few steps of the day. And because the feet absorb shock for the whole body, added weight causes microstrain not only in the heels, but also in the ankles and toes. Many seniors describe it as walking on bruises that never fully heal. And here's something that surprises people the most. Even the hands, which do not bear weight, can become painful because of obesity. This is because the inflammatory chemicals produced by fat cells circulate throughout the body. They can trigger or worsen arthritis in the small joints of the hands and fingers. Seniors often come to me confused, asking why their fingers ache even though they haven't used their hands heavily. When they understand that inflammation travels everywhere, not just where the body bears weight, it finally makes sense. Over the years, I've seen dramatic improvements from small but meaningful changes. One of my patients, a woman in her 70s, struggled with chronic knee and hip pain that made simple movements feel like obstacles. She lost only 5 to 7 pounds, but the change in her mobility and pain level was astonishing. She told me she felt as if someone had lifted a brick off her knees. It was a reminder that even modest progress can bring joint relief far beyond what people expect. Understanding how each region of the body is affected gives you a clearer picture of what your joints experience every day. It also gives you hope, because the moment you begin reducing the strain, the joints respond. They are resilient, far more than many seniors believe, and they are waiting for the moment the pressure finally lightens. In the next section, we'll talk about why older adults are especially vulnerable to this type of pain, and what unique challenges aging adds to the equation. Why obesity? Older people suffer more pain. As we continue our conversation, I want to talk about something deeply important and often overlooked. Many seniors come to me puzzled, sometimes even frustrated, because their joint pain seems to grow louder as they get older. They assume it's only age taking its toll, or that they did something wrong earlier in life. But the truth is far more nuanced. Aging alone does not explain why joint pain becomes so intense, especially for those carrying extra weight. There are biological reasons, natural shifts, and internal changes that make older adults more vulnerable to pain caused by obesity. One of the most significant factors is the way body fat changes as we age. Younger people tend to store more fat under the skin, but as the decades pass, fat begins migrating into deeper spaces, wrapping around organs and settling inside the abdomen. This visceral fat isn't harmless. It is highly active, releasing chemicals that create strong inflammatory reactions. Seniors often feel this inflammation as stiffness that doesn't go away, soreness that spreads unpredictably, or swelling that appears without any injury. The fat is no longer just sitting quietly. It is participating in the body's chemistry, amplifying pain in ways many older adults never imagined. Another hidden influence comes from hormonal changes. As we age, hormones that once kept inflammation in check begin to fluctuate. Insulin becomes less efficient, which increases inflammation in both the bloodstream and the joints. Leptin, a hormone produced by fat cells, rises with obesity and sends irritation signals directly into the joints. Many seniors do not realize that the hormones responsible for regulating appetite and metabolism also play key roles in joint health. When these hormones become unbalanced, the joints pay the price. What feels like mystery pain is often the result of these quiet internal imbalances. Older adults also tend to move less, and not because they are lazy or unmotivated. The body naturally loses muscle as the years pass, a process known as sarcopenia. When muscle tissue declines, strength declines with it. The joints suddenly lack the strong support system they once had, forcing them to carry more weight and absorb more shock. A senior who used to walk without thinking may suddenly find everyday movement difficult, and with less motion comes less lubrication inside the joints. The fluid meant to protect the cartilage thickens and becomes less effective, creating discomfort during activities that once felt effortless. Sleep also plays a powerful role in how older adults experience pain. Many seniors struggle with insomnia, restless nights, or frequent awakenings. When sleep is disrupted, the brain becomes more sensitive to pain signals. A poor night's sleep can make mild stiffness feel unbearable. And when obesity is added to the picture, sleep becomes even more complicated because extra weight can interfere with breathing, posture, and circulation. It becomes a cycle. Extra weight leads to poorer sleep, and poorer sleep magnifies every ache. I recall a man in his late 60s who came to see me after months of worsening joint pain. He told me he barely recognized his body anymore. After examining him, it became clear that his pain wasn't just from aging or years of hard work. It was from a combination of deeper inflammation, hormonal changes, and declining muscle strength. When we gently adjusted his habits, helped him add simple movements to his day, and guided him toward reducing even a small amount of weight, he told me it felt as if his joints had aged backward. What struck him the most was how small the changes were compared to how big the relief felt. This is why it's so important to understand the connection between aging and weight. The body is not failing, it is adapting, and those adaptations can make the impact of obesity more intense for older adults. But here is the hopeful truth. Because the connection is biological and mechanical, not mysterious, it means improvement is absolutely possible. When seniors give their bodies a little help, their joints respond quickly. When inflammation calms, when hormones settle, when muscles strengthen even slightly, the body remembers how to heal. In the next section, we'll talk about the warning signs you should never ignore and the moments when joint pain is telling you that it's time to seek help before the problem grows deeper. Understanding these signals is one of the most empowering steps you can take toward protecting your long-term joint health. Warning signs that require medical attention and safe pain relief solutions for obese people. As we move forward, I want to talk about something many seniors hesitate to face. Joint pain can be confusing. It comes and goes. Some days are manageable, and others feel impossible. Because the pain fluctuates, many older adults convince themselves it's nothing serious, or they simply wait it out. But pain, especially chronic pain connected to excess weight, has its own language. When we learn to recognize that language, we protect not only our joints, but also our independence and quality of life. There are certain warning signs your body uses to tell you that something deeper needs attention. One of the clearest signs is persistent pain that does not fade after 10 days or 2 weeks. I once treated a woman who had been ignoring her worsening knee pain for months. She believed she just needed more rest, but what she really needed was early intervention. By the time she visited me, the inflammation had already caused structural changes that made recovery more complicated. Her story is not uncommon. When pain becomes a constant companion, even during periods of rest, it's a sign your joints are struggling to keep up with the stress placed on them. Another important warning is swelling, particularly when it comes with heat or redness around the joint. These symptoms are not simply signs of overuse. They often indicate active inflammation or even infection. Some seniors also experience stiffness in the morning that lasts more than 30 to 60 minutes. This can point toward inflammatory arthritis, which needs proper evaluation. And then there are more concerning signs: numbness, tingling, weakness, or sudden difficulty standing or balancing. These symptoms may signal nerve compression or more advanced joint degeneration. I once met a gentleman who brushed off his hip pain for so long that he began to adapt his entire life around avoiding movement. He didn't realize that the pain was slowly altering his posture, weakening his muscles and putting even more pressure on his joints. When he finally sought help, he told me he wished someone had explained the early warning signs earlier. That is why I'm sharing them with you now. Paying attention does not make you fearful. It makes you wise. Once you understand the signs your body uses to ask for help, you're ready for the next and most empowering step. Learning what you can do to reduce pain, support your joints, and break the cycle that excess weight creates. And the good news is that you do not need dramatic, overwhelming changes. Your joints respond beautifully to small, consistent steps. One of the most effective ways to relieve joint pain is to gently reduce body weight. This doesn't mean strict dieting or forcing yourself into intense workouts. In fact, most seniors benefit the most from slow, steady progress. What surprises many people is that losing just 5 pounds removes about 20 pounds of pressure from the knees. I've seen seniors reduce their symptoms dramatically, with very modest changes. One of my patients joked that losing a few pounds felt like someone turned down the volume on her knee pain. Movement plays a crucial role as well. You don't need long gym sessions or complicated routines. Your joints thrive on gentle, intentional motion. Walking at a comfortable pace, using a stationary bike, or practicing simple water exercises can strengthen the muscles that support your hips and knees. Strong muscles act like shock absorbers, protecting your joints from impact and strain. Yoga designed for older adults can also improve balance, flexibility, and circulation. And for those who struggle with more intense discomfort, moving in warm water often feels surprisingly comfortable because the water supports your weight and reduces pressure on the joints. Your daily eating habits also shape the health of your joints. A diet high in processed sugar, excess salt, and unhealthy fats feeds inflammation. Meanwhile, foods rich in omega-3s, leafy greens, berries, whole grains, and spices like turmeric and ginger help quiet that inflammation naturally. Many of my patients find relief simply by shifting their dinner habits, reducing salty dishes at night, or adding a cup of warm ginger tea before bed. These small changes add up quickly. Supplements can be helpful when chosen wisely. Omega-3 fatty acids help reduce inflammation. Collagen supports cartilage health. Glucosamine and MSM can enhance joint mobility for some people. Vitamin D3 with K. 2. Strengthens bone structure, and magnesium helps relax tight muscles that pull on your joints at night. These aren't magic cures, but they become powerful tools when combined with movement, hydration, and mindful eating. Even your evening routine plays a role in how your joints feel. A warm bath relaxes the muscles and stimulates circulation. Light stretching can loosen the joints and prepare them for rest. Gentle massage around the knees, hips, or lower back can ease tension that builds up throughout the day. Hydration is also important, though many seniors prefer drinking water earlier in the evening to avoid nighttime bathroom trips. Well-hydrated joints move more smoothly and ache less. And of course, there are times when professional care makes all the difference. Short courses of medication can calm severe inflammation. Physical therapy can rebuild strength and correct imbalances. In some cases, targeted injections can reduce pain and improve mobility. These options are not signs of failure. They are tools, and using them wisely can help you regain freedom and comfort more quickly. The most important thing to remember is this: your body is not working against you. It is working with you, trying to communicate its needs and protect you every step of the way. When you listen to it, support it, and give it the care it deserves, it responds. Even small changes can bring meaningful relief. And when you combine those changes with patience and consistency, your joints can feel lighter, stronger, and more capable than you thought possible. In the next part of our journey, we'll bring everything together and talk about how to embrace your body, honor its signals, and move forward with confidence and gratitude. Healing is not only possible, it is already waiting for you. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to remember something simple but powerful. Joint pain caused by obesity is not your destiny. It is not a life sentence or a punishment for getting older. It is a signal, a quiet message from your body asking for attention, compassion, and care. And when you finally understand what that signal means, everything begins to change. You don't need massive, overwhelming steps to feel better. Small choices can open the door to big improvements: gentle movement, better sleep, nourishing foods, tiny shifts in daily habits. These are not just tasks, they are acts of self-respect. I've seen seniors transform their joint health one simple effort at a time, and every success story began with just one decision: the decision to keep going. Your body, even at 60, 70, or 80, still holds remarkable potential to heal. It remembers every challenge you have overcome. It remembers every mile you've walked, every burden you've carried, and every beautiful moment you've lived. It has never given up on you, and it will not start now. All it needs is your willingness to support it in this new chapter. So listen to your pain, but do not fear it. Pain is information, not an enemy. Patience and good habits will carry you further than you think. The journey may be slow, but slow progress is still progress, and each step brings you closer to a life where your joints feel lighter and your days feel brighter. Before we end, take a moment to appreciate the body that has carried you faithfully through the years. It deserves your gratitude, it deserves your care, and you deserve comfort, freedom, and health as you move forward. If today's video spoke to you, I invite you to stay with us here at Senior Health Daily. Subscribe, tap the notification bell, and continue this journey alongside a community that believes in living stronger, living happier, and living fully every single day.